All right, what's going on, guys? So today we got a video here. We're going to be installing the R6 engine harness. Now, I offer this engine harness for the 02 to 04 and the 0506 R6. Now, this harness will work on K-swap cars, and I'll show you inside the difference on the harness that I do offer, because I do offer a street version and also a race version, and you guys can clearly see, and you'll see what would be the best choice accordingly to what you're doing with your car. Okay, so one thing I do want to mention is that the harness are different. So according to the car that you have, the chassis, okay, doesn't mean if you have the conversion like this, like the RSX, it's depending on the chassis you have. If your chassis is 0506, you need to get the harness for 0506. That doesn't matter if you have a K24, so on, don't matter. You need to specify it to your chassis. Okay, so keep that in mind. Again, this will work for the K-swap cars, and you guys going to see here inside some of the K-swap items that are added to the engine harness that will work for the K-swap cars. And then I know the K-swap cars, everybody just uses the 02 to 04 R6 engine harness. Again, I will have two different versions, and I will show you more inside, but we are going to here remove the engine harness. And very simple. I will say, though, have somebody help you, because removing it from the inside, pulling it out, you can do it by yourself. I will not say you can't, because obviously I'm doing it by myself, but if you haven't done it, have somebody help you, and it's just a lot easier. Now, you are going to be removing the complete engine harness, and that's going to be pretty much, and I'll show you here, and I got you, and that's going to be from your coil pack covers, your injectors, your cam sensors, your coolant temp sensor. And then here is going to be your VSS, and that is going to be for the 0506. The VSS is in the front. The 02 to 04 is the VSS is in the back. And then you can see we have the reverse lockout, the reverse signal, and then as well your TPS, your map sensor, and your IAC if you have it there. One of the things about the harness is we also included with a boost controller. You guys are going to see it here inside in a second, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys out here. And as well, the harness is going to remove the charge harness, which is going to be the plug right there that you see for the alternator, the knock sensor, and also for your starter. Okay, again, I will walk inside here in a few minutes and show you the difference, but I just wanted to kind of go out here and so you guys can have like a visual effect, not a visual effect, but like a visual picture of what we're doing. And as well, you're gonna have to be removing the sensor right here, and there's another one at the bottom, okay, and also the ones right here on the side, but there's one here at the bottom. You can might be able to see it here, and that's gonna be right there. I don't think it's gonna pick it up that good. Let me see if I can see it from here. Oh, you won't be able to see it, but there's another plug here that you need to go ahead and remove it, and then we're gonna go ahead, everything on the harness is labeled. So again, we're gonna go inside right now, show you the difference between the street version and the race version of the harness. All right, here we go, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and show you the difference between the harness. Now, I do want to make sure and clear this up. Both harness will do absolutely the same purpose as tucking and giving you that beautiful picture that you want, that everything's nice and clearly out of the way. So that's gonna be, so the difference between both of them is the material that we use between the street version and the race version. So the street version, as you can see here, is going to be full shrink, and I will pull that out here in a second, but I just want to show you here. And then the race version is completely full heat shrink versus the other one that is going to be loom. And the difference between it is a loom is just a little bit, stuff can get in it, as well as not as resistant to heat. Versus like this, it's completely heat shrink. As you can see here, the harness. Again, I'm gonna pull that out here. Everything is labeled on the harness, as in all the plugs, so it is impossible for you to mess it up. Now, there is a couple things that you could mess up, and I will say that because the plugs are exactly the same, and that's gonna be in the intake and the exhaust sensor. But if you watch the video, you'll see exactly what to do so you don't make the mistake, and that is very commonly done by shops. And I'm telling you, and they'll be like, the car don't start. And as soon as you flip those, and the car starts right up. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and open them up, and then we'll go from. All right, so here we have the other harness that is just with the loom, and you can see here again, the harness will work the same, guys. It's just gonna depending on what specific you're trying to do with your car. As you can see here, this is the one, and it has the same layout. You can see it has the same plugs. I mean, everything is it's literally the same. But again, it's just gonna depending, and this is just spends a lot of time and a lot more material, and the material is more expensive, and that's gonna be pretty much the different price points between both of them, and that's gonna be depending on what exactly you want to do with your bill. Personally, me, it's not that big of a price difference. I would just go with that one. Just because all my cars are turbo and I don't want to deal with wires melting or anything getting inside here. You know what I mean? Because this stuff can get something in it. And we do them just depending on the price that you really want to go with. And we want to make this harness as affordable as possible. But you also want to be able to, you know, bougie out and give the best quality possible. And that's going to be for those. And then obviously those also work as well. They work just fine. Everything is that you saw here is the same as this. It's just we use a different sleeving on it, and that's where the price difference comes down to. So again, it's going to be depending on what you want to do with your bill and how far do you want to take it. So we're gonna go ahead and install it on Tommy's car and show you guys, and it's gonna be the same process if it was for any other K-swap car, and as well as the RSX. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and throw it on. Here we go. So we're gonna go ahead and throw the engine harness on. You can see here the difference already. So we have the injector plugs, and then we have injector plugs. So clearly the difference is hugely noticeable. And again, everything is labeled. Okay, with the injectors, it's very simple. You're gonna go work your way this way, that way. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so keep that in mind. So when you put them on, because there's always people that have problem throwing them on the car. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and throw them on and show you little by little, and we're gonna work our way. So one thing I did forgot to mention is, and that is gonna be for the knock sensor. The knock sensor is only gonna be for the one that's for K20, which you can see that one right there. If you have the one that's for K24, you might need to actually cut the cable and put the one from your other harness, which is gonna be right here. Okay, your knock sensor. Me personally, I don't run them any in my car, but that's just how my tuner has it. So depending on what you have, I'll tell you not to run it, but depending on your tuner, that's how they kind of go about it. So again, this is gonna be for the stock one, yeah, very simple. If you have the K24, then you need to either get the K20 knock sensor or cut that and put the K20 actual sensor itself here. So we're gonna head finish throwing it off, and we're almost done actually taking all this junk off. You can see here, and this is Jesus. So we're gonna throw it on, and so the very first thing we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna go ahead and fish the harness into the firewall here. Now this one, it comes a little tricky. You can have 2 people. You can shove it through here. As you can see here, I already cut myself a little bit, and you can shove it in, and another person can pull it out through the other side. But you can get in there. It's not a problem. It's a little bit tight. Don't get me wrong. I'm doing it, and I'm telling you. So very simple. We got here the plugs. We fished them through there. You can see here. I'm not sure how much you're gonna be able to see here, but you can see here where it comes. I'm not sure, you're not gonna be able to see much. But yeah, so we fish it through there, comes through here. We're gonna go ahead and plug it into the ECU, and also plug it into here and show you how this is gonna look. Got this is on his car right here specifically. He has an 04 02 04 ECU, but he has a conversion harness here, so he's able to run K-Pro, but with the harness here. So again, if you do that, you're supposed to run, or your car will not run if you're running an 02 04 harness, even though you have the K-Pro there. And that's being because your chassis here, it needs to be able to read the actual 0506 engine harness. So you cannot put a 04 or 02 04 engine harness on the 0506. Anyway, moving on. Very simple. We're gonna go ahead and plug it in and show you how that looks. There we go. Super simple. This one goes into here. The other 2 go right here, and you cannot mess this up. They will not go into one another. Okay, so just be mindful of that. And then the OEM one will go right onto here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and continue to route the harness over here in the engine bay. Again, we're gonna work our way from the back all the way to the front. So very simple. As you can see here, how the harness actually lays out. You can see how clean it's gonna look. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish putting some of these plugs in, and then I'll come back as I move forward. Here we go, guys. We're working on the harness and quickly update on this. So we got the coils already put on. We have a ground here, and we also have another ground here. Okay, very simple. One, we got cylinder 4, 3, 2, 1. Same concept with the injectors. Okay, when we get there. All right, we have our VTEC solenoid plugged in. You do not have to plug in the other one. Okay, we do not supply it for that one. It is not necessary. Okay, we got that one put on, and then you can see there slightly there at the bottom. Okay, you got the crank right there on. Okay, this is my fault for not mentioning it. If you have a K24 swap, okay, you need to put a K20 crank sensor, or you need to rewire exactly for the K24 crank sensor. If you do not do that, the vehicle will not start. Only if you have a K24. If you have a K20, plug it right in, ready to go. The harness is made for a K20, okay? If you have a K24, you don't want to rewire, just get a K20 crank sensor, good to go, continue about it. Very simple, okay? So do be aware of it. That is something that a lot of people run into that issue, and they think that something's wrong with the harness, but no, it's if you have a K24, that is going to be an issue, and that's going to be for any other car, any harness in general, even for a stock harness, okay? So just be aware. Not just be like, oh, but I'll have to do. No, it is even for a stock engine harness. If you get the K24, you're supposed to modify that in order to get it, or just get a K20 crank sensor in order for to work. Okay, so we're moving along very slowly. You can see here we have our intake, see if it'll focus, and then we have our exhaust plugged in. You can see how nicely it's coming along. Absolutely perfect, how I like it. Right over the valve cover, right into the inside of the ECU. So we're gonna go ahead and move along. We're gonna go ahead and push it this way underneath the manifold and get the rest of the plugs plugged in, and I'll show you exactly how that is gonna be looking. Okay, so coming out super clean. I mean, compared to what he had, is it is absolutely amazing. So we're gonna go ahead and continue. Here we go, guys. We got the harness fully installed on the car. We're gonna go ahead and crank it on here in a second, but one last thing I do want to go ahead and cover is gonna be the boost controller. Okay, if you're not gonna be running the boost controller, take off the other plug on and just leave this on, just like so. You can leave it anywhere, it's not gonna be a problem, but otherwise you don't want to leave any exposed wires, and that can turn off your computer. Okay, very simple. And the same thing with the other one, that's going to be this one. So make sure you tape off the end of that. You don't want to have any exposed, and that's going to be if you're running a K-swap car, this is going to be perfect. Otherwise, just put a little bit of tape on it and you are good to go. So the last thing I got to do is repin the injectors, and that's going to be it for him. You can see here the harness is fully laid out. We got the whole plugs in, we got the VSS, we got the intake temp sensor. Guys, make sure everything is plugged in, otherwise you will have an error on the ECU, especially this one. It can throw a code if you don't have that sensor plugged in. Doesn't mean if you don't have it like just dangling all over the place, but you got to make sure it's actually plugged in as it is. You see it right there. Okay, so super clean, simple, and I mean, can't get any easier than that. We got all the plugs here. Again, everything is labeled, guys. You cannot mess this up. I mean, you can see here we got the map sensor, and then obviously map sensor. So map sensor goes here. Okay, and you can see here, it just plugs right in. Same thing with TPS. We got the knock sensor. And we got the whatchamacallit here, the alternator. And the last one I gotta do, which I left it here, is gonna be your starter signal. So you can see here, you can see here, bam. Okay, and that's gonna be going right to your starter right there. So you can see here, that little one right there. So that one is gonna be going. I left the loose right there at the end. I wanted to make sure you guys see it and able to pick that up. So we're gonna go ahead and plug it in. It is long enough that you're able to throw it on there. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do it. I might have to move this down a little bit so I'm able to plug that in, but wanted to show you guys that. Okay, here we go, guys. We got the full harness in. This is the old one. I just want to show you guys that there's nothing to worry about buying my harness. We're 100%. made them here in Florida. So we're gonna go ahead and throw them on. Mind this, my boy's battery is actually dead, so don't mind the jump box. But we're gonna go ahead and throw it on, make sure there's no codes, there's nothing popping up. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. All right. Go ahead and prime it. Prime it one more time. Make sure it's on neutral. First start. Let's go. No check engine light. Don't mind the ABS. That's nothing to do with the car. There you go. There you go, boys. Idling perfect. So, show you guys one more time. And the harness is on the car, okay? Get it. There you go, guys. Completely finished. I had a coil pack cover for him. He let me borrow the car to do this video for you guys. So shout out to my boy Tommy for letting me borrow his car to do this video. But you guys can see a huge difference from the OEM one. Like I said, both harness will do the same, but just like I said, depending on the purpose that he's gonna go turbo later on, but depending on exactly what you're gonna end up doing with your car, it's depending the harness that I would recommend. So like again, feel comfortable enough to buy this. I test them. I 100% go through all my harnesses. 100% guarantee that they will work for you. If any problems, always feel free to reach out to me and I will help you. But you know, I wanted to show you guys and quickly go over, and that way you guys can visually see how the harness looks and how everything it is wired. In case you guys have have any question towards the harness, they should be enough to make the decision easier for you in order to buy the harness from us. So once again, appreciate you guys tuning in, watching this, and we have them in stock. If any questions, reach out to us through email. It's going to be the best way to get a hold of it. Okay, so thank you once again, and I'll see you guys on the next one.